Hi, my name is Jason Riggs. I'd like to introduce myself to you and tell you why I'm interested in a position on the board at Brighton and why I think I'm qualified. My wife and I of 10 years moved to Douglasville about 7 years ago with our daughters who are 9 and 7. I am an Atlanta native. I grew up in Gwinnett County over on the other side of town where I attended the public schools. I then went to Berry College up in Rome, Georgia, and then after Berry I went to Clemson where I received a PhD in chemistry. After being in the workforce for a few years, I went back to school at nights and I received an MBA from Georgia State University. From a professional standpoint, I've managed and directed several laboratories, and more recently I've become involved in the development and commercialization of additives for the plastics industry. I'm interested in a board position because I've always been involved in the lives of my girls, whether that's going on field trips or sitting in the carpool line, or even the fact that this is my 10th season being their soccer coach. I've always been there for them. A position on the board will give me an opportunity to play an active role in helping to shape their educational experience and impact the lives of other children from families who value education as much as we do in our family. I know firsthand what doors a quality education can unlock, and I want to do whatever I can to make sure children in my community have an opportunity for outstanding learning. I also strongly believe in the values promoted by the Seven Seeds program, and I want to be part of an organization promoting this in our community. I'd like to share with you several reasons why I think I'm qualified for a position on the board. The Brighton mission is to use an innovative, research-based instruction model to produce measured growth and achieve objectives. As someone with a science-based background, I use data and facts every day to drive decision-making, growth, and achieve business results. And I believe that I can effectively bring this skill to the function of the board. On a routine basis, I take the seed of an idea inspired from various stakeholders and then germinate it and grow it to success. In order to do this, I have to convince multiple stakeholders to pledge money and various resources. I think this ability would also be very useful to Brighton Academy as it sets its goals and objectives and it needs people to accomplish them. In my professional role, I have to make sure our plastics additives meet U.S. and global regulations for things such as food contact. This requires the ability to understand and interpret complex rules. I believe this skill is directly translatable to the diligence it takes to fulfill the responsibilities of a board member. Finally, I believe I have an understanding on some level at least of the challenges of teaching effectively and what the classroom requires. While at Clemson, I taught laboratory to undergraduates for 5 years. In the business world, I created methods and procedures and was responsible for training laboratory technicians and making sure they were proficient at these methods. Lastly, in my 10 seasons of coaching soccer at West Georgia Football Club, I've also gained knowledge on what it takes to teach children a skill. I believe that if you take all these qualifications and you put them all together, it makes me qualified to be on the board. And in closing, finally, I'd like to thank you for your consideration